On our podcast show this week, we've got a bit of a catch up with EVs.
Yes.
There's been some news recently. A couple of things that will probably make some people unhappy that their theories, misinformation, or things that they heard from a neighbor, from another neighbor that owns an electric car, not true. And we're going to dive right into it because it's kind of funny. So we know that data is very important, right?
That's true.
Right? There have been stories about EV batteries basically dying, just expensive repairs.
Expensive
blah, blah, blah.
repairs, yeah. They're worried about a battery costing like 20 grand to replace.
You know what the funny thing is? I'm wondering why those people are so concerned about my EV battery in the first place. I mean, they don't own it. I own it. Thank you.
Let me ask you a question. Are EV batteries modular?
They are.
So, in other words, it's not just one big pack.
No.
It's separated
Multiple
into
cells.
Like, so if, say, one of the batteries die or one of the cells die.
One section.
You could actually replace that, right?
It's exactly what they do. It's just when the replacement happens, it's usually a very specialized battery that might need that type of repair. Typically what happens is that the entire battery is replaced, the core is exchanged, but the other battery goes back to factory or whatever to be refurbished to be put back into circulation.
Right, I get you.
Right, so those are the things that happen behind the scenes that no one really sees. And also the battery must be something that is ubiquitous. So there should be enough of them out there that's worth doing the work, right? So Teslas, often you might get a replacement battery, but it might not be completely brand new. It might be a factory refurbish or or something like
it's
that.
never like replacing the whole battery, which costs you like 20 plus grand.
Yeah, like a Tesla Model 3 battery, the average price is around 11, 13K for the entire one. But if you go to a shop that's able to diagnose and just replace those pieces, and they're good at that, you might be like a couple grand and you're out the door, right? With a 100% functioning battery for all the other cells balanced, right?
So
these are things that have been happening for a very long time. And we also, unfortunately, we missed the Fully Charged show, which is now called the Electric Everything show.
Oh, Electric Everything.
That's where they showed off the new Rivian R3, which is a vehicle that I'm very interested in myself. Rivian is doing some amazing things. And also VinFast, of course, was probably there as well too. Again,
with their version 3,
with their whatever it was. Those are the guys that actually texted me and wanted me to try out the car. I'm like, no, thank you. And they didn't respond to my challenge to actually give me a car to try again, because I sent them our initial podcast about how I didn't like it. And everyone's opinion was the same at that point.
They should loan you the car for
They should loan me the car for a little while just to see if they really made it any improvements. All the new reviews have addressed some of the issues that I have noticed, but some of them still remain, including the high inefficiency of the vehicle. It is not very efficient vehicle. It's also very heavy. And it's also based on on ICE, like an internal combustion engine design, because there's a tunnel still there where they could completely remove it. It also has no trunk space. So it was built for a gas tank. It was built for, it's basically a conversion.
Oh, let me ask you a question. I'm not sure if it's true or not. Electric vehicles now, they don't have a spare tire.
None of the vehicles do.
The new cars don't have a spare tire.
None of them do. It's not just an EV thing. An EV has way more space because it has no gas tank.
Yeah.
But in order to save weight and everything, EVs typically remove the tire just like everyone else.
So what happens if you get a puncture?
You have a kit that has this foam that actually seals the tire from the inside.
Right. Yeah. So, okay, because I'm not into cars anyway. So that's the new type. Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So
and I also, I myself have a puncture repair kit. So it basically uses these sticky strings that harden once you expose it to air. You push it, you drill, push it through the opening, you snip it off, and that seals the puncture as well too, as long as you can find it. Typically okay for nails. But if it's a slash on the tire, you might not be able to repair, and that's very difficult as well too.
Right, so this slow puncture or nail, things like that, glass. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So back to EV batteries. Okay.
Yeah.
So there was this there's this long-term study done by this company called Geotab, and they do data analysis for all sorts of different things, right?
Yep.
They analyze all sorts of different things, and one of the questions that they asked: how long do electric car batteries last? They analyzed 10,000 electric vehicles to find out what this question was.
This is all different brands.
All different brands.
Okay.
Right. So they analyzed, a whole bunch of different brands. So prior to 2019, the average was 2.3% per year is the degradation of most EVs. Right.
So 2 point whatever percent degradation over the life of the
That's right.
EV. Okay.
Okay, so 2.3% per year. So in 5 years, you would lose 5 times 2.3. That would be about 11.5%, something like that.
Yeah.
So that's what you would lose. So your battery would charge to no more than 89%.
89%. Yeah. So that's still good enough, though.
It's pretty good, but we can always do better. So prior to 2019, the most popular vehicles on the lot selling like hotcakes or the Leaf. Now, the Leaf didn't have active cooling. So the battery was actually air cooled, which meant that the degradation of those batteries, if you charged them at DC fast chargers, was much, much higher than anything else out there. Skewed, right?
Right.
Teslas have liquid cooling. Chevy Bolts have liquid cooling. All the other vehicles moving forward from that time point
from 2019.
all have liquid cooling.
From 2019 onwards.
Many of them, but the most popular one was still the Leaf at that time. One of the most popular, right? So since 2019, that number has dropped. So what they found out is that since that point, all these new vehicles, 10,000 vehicles, they are now 1.8% average.
Okay.
So as these Leafs are going away, as newer vehicles are going on, and they are now getting liquid cooling, better battery management systems, better cells, different chemistries, it's going down 1.8%. So they've 0.5% less degradation. So the takeaway is that an EV battery, if you were to own the vehicle for 20 years, you would lose maybe 20% of your battery. You would still be able to charge to 80%.
Which is acceptable. Yeah.
It's very acceptable because, and we'll get into why that is in the next story that we want to talk about, is the fact that usually EV owners will charge to 80% to preserve the life of the battery anyway.
Yeah. Right? 80 to 90, 80 usually.
So you're fine. You're within the range. But the most important point to get across is that in 20 years, that's not the battery that's the issue. It's the vehicle that's falling apart.
The 20 years, the car will fall apart.
Right?
Yeah, that's true.
A 20-year-old car will fall apart, right? Because of all the plastics, recyclable stuff. You want to recycle the vehicle anyway, right? You want to get it out there. You want to, use it for parts, right? 10 years is probably the more average. 5 years is probably more common these days.
Yeah, I think up to 10 years, people might want to replace their car. Yeah.
I'm a 5-year person myself.
5 to 6 years, you can then,
I also want a new warranty as well too, et cetera, et cetera. Buying a service plan. Also, parts become less prevalent. That's why you need vehicles to go used so that you can actually get parts from used vehicles that are in fairly good condition, repair, so you can keep that market open and alive, right? And of course, aftermarket as well too, and repairs, et cetera, right? So this is actually very promising because it means that vehicles, their battery packs are lasting way, way longer than the vehicles themselves, right? In that case, the argument that EVs don't last, their batteries blow up, they cost
you a fortune to replace.
Yeah, it's not true.
Okay,
it's literally not true. Because 10,000 vehicles is a very good sample size.
So where does all these batteries go to? Well, it's like, for example, like 5 years are passed and the car's getting replaced, whatever, and then those cars are not being, on their scraps or spare parts. Yeah. Those batteries must be used elsewhere.
They do. There's 3 ways that they can be dealt with. Number 1, they can be dealt with as backup power. So a lot of places will use those cells. They're the same cells. They're the industry standard cells. They're utilized in a lot of these battery packs. And they're used for backup batteries for housing. For windmills. For many places that store the electricity for later use, right? That's one way.
So they can be repurposed.
Completely repurposed. Okay. Second, you recycle the pack. You turn it into black mass and you put it back into
production of new
batteries.
Okay.
Excuse me. Typically, when you do that, what they find is that the second time around, the minerals and the materials actually become more pure.
Right.
Because you refine them one more time. So you can actually build better batteries the second time.
So versus a internal combustion engine, your gas, once it's burnt,
it's gone.
It's gone. It's
right?
used, right? Whereas batteries can be recycled and
almost
repurposed.
Up to 100%. Yeah, because with the exception of the casing and the glue and everything like that, it's almost 100% that you can take all these materials and refine them and put them back into lithium, sulfur, lithium, cobalt, whatever.
What was the reason, or what was the thing that they couldn't do 5, 10, 15 years ago with the batteries? Is it because the technology wasn't there for the recycling, or it was just...
They were just trying to figure that out. I mean, the process is, people have always recycled batteries, but not at the scale that they need to.
Right.
Also, you want to get very good and fast at it, right? Because otherwise, if you're not good and fast at it, it's going to cost you way too much money.
The volume was too low.
Volume was too low.
Right.
And that's why you have these plants, they're kind of sitting idle right now. They're looking for enough material to actually process. One company that we actually ran into, Lil Cycle,
in Richmond?
Richmond, Surrey. They have this really novel process of taking all the scraps at production point and actually introducing them back into the production line. So that's a really good way of taking waste.
Reducing the waste and then putting it back into production.
And again, 100%, almost 100% recycle, right? So it goes right back into the line to build new batteries, right? So as long as that's introduced at the factory, you don't have to have a plant that trucks everything to it. You just truck it to the factory. The factory does it on the spot and puts it right back in the
basically
internal recycling, right? So let's just say that Ford was doing this at scale. Every single F-150 battery, Mach-E battery would come back to the factory. It would be put directly back into the production line of their battery plant. Neat, right? So technologies like that, they already exist, right? So a lot of people, when they fear for me and my battery, thank you, I appreciate it, but not necessary, right? My battery's fine, right? My battery has an 8-year warranty, 160,000 kilometers, right? The average Canadian drives 15,000 kilometers. I'm about double that. So at bare minimum, my battery will last me 5 to 6 years. At maximum, my battery will last me way longer than that.
You have what, 8 years warranty on it?
8-year warranty.
Oh, that's fine.
160,000 kilometers, right?
That's more than that.
Right? And that includes the entire EV drivetrain. So any part of that drivetrain that actually supplies power is taken care of, right? So recently, there was a service bulletin for my vehicle. I had my reduction gear replaced. It was a first generation issue with the Niro EV. It was one of the first vehicles that was built from Kia to completely be more or less an EV, right? It didn't have the tunnel or anything like that. It was built for that platform, right? And that was one of the first generation Kia EV, right? First or second. So the reduction gear basically supplies power to the front wheels because mine's front wheel drive. And because of the torque and everything, I think Kia underestimated how much fun their vehicles are. And it actually started to fail. But it wasn't actually specifically related to the components not being good. It was actually a silly engineering thing where they used magnets to capture all of the metal particles inside the casing.
Right.
So there's oil circulating, right? And it should last very, very long time. Like they were saying 96,000 kilometers before you need to change. I changed mine at 15. It was black and silvery. I changed mine at 48, black and silvery. And then I had my entire reduction gear replaced.
But is it the way that you drive?
No, it was actually a flaw, and I'll explain.
Okay.
These magnets, what happened is that these magnets would move inside the casing, shaving away at the metal and putting it into the oil.
Okay.
Right? And then eventually some of the magnets just fall right in. So now there's nothing capturing the particles, right? So that's why my oil was silvery and completely black.
Okay.
For the last couple of changes that I did, not on the cycle. If I had not done that, I think my reduction gear would have died much, much earlier.
Okay.
Right. And I firmly believe that because a lot of people have analyzed the oil. This is not just a me issue. A lot of people were very curious. And they found out that the amount of metal inside that oil was not as abnormal. So,
when people, the reason why I asked you that is because some people drive more aggressively.
Yep.
And by doing so, it's like having your disc pads and brakes because they wear off more if you drive more aggressively, right?
In this case, only the tires were affected.
Yeah.
Because that's just me. I wear out tires. That's my fault. But this is actually an internal flaw that prevented the casing from capturing the metal that was getting into the gears and the bearings and everything. So
now
there was a bearing failure.
They've replaced it or they've
completely replaced it.
And will the same problem occur again, or is it?
We don't know. Because this hopefully they've revised the part to have better magnets.
So it doesn't shake.
So the magnets will move around and shave all the stuff out. So I'm hoping that it won't be an issue for me.
Stronger magnets.
Yeah. So I mean, this is just a learning process of that first or second generation Kia, and the new ones don't even have this type of setup. It's completely different.
Right.
So they're improving.
But mind you, you've been driving this almost 3-4 years.
I'm at 97,000 kilometers. I've driven it 3 years.
3 years.
I literally drive the double the Canadian standard.
Yeah, and then literally within the next 2 years, then you're thinking of maybe.
I will move to another vehicle within the next 2 years.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
So someone's going to have a really nice, used, very well taken care of.
Driven in.
Well driven in. Okay, but you'll get a new warranty from the dealership on that as well too. So yes, batteries, not an issue, not as big as issue as you think they are. There's always one limit in every million, every thousand.
I think when if we can put it in the perspective of it's not one big battery. It's all modular.
It's modular.
And each compartment can be replaced or if it's damaged, then I think it'd be easier for you guys to understand that, battery is not just one big thing. It can be modular. It can be replaced.
Yeah. I mean, that's that data from 10,000 vehicles from the study across Canada. And I think that,
it's like having a remote for your TV, right? And remote control, you have two batteries in there, right?
Yeah.
If one of them is like dodgy or failing,
it'll make the other one go bad too.
Yeah, so
it still has power in it.
Yeah, so you replace the damaged one or the used one. So it's like that.
Yeah, this study was from Geotab. You can definitely look it up. It's a Geotab EV battery study, and they've been following these vehicles for a number of years. They even break it down by make and model, so you can go from all vehicles to the ones they follow. So, for example, I had a Chevy Bolt EV, but I can also compare it to the 2019, and you can see they have the chart on their site. So they're not hiding anything. They just want to be as transparent as possible to tell you, hey, these are the if you want a vehicle that has a long-lasting battery, maybe look at these. The Bolt EV was a fantastic vehicle. It just had a recall that was not the fault of GM. It was actually their partner, LG Chem, that made an error in how they created the cells. So a brand new battery is basically the remedy. So if you buy get a used Bolt with a brand new battery already put in, you have a brand new 8-year warranty. So it's a brand new vehicle right away, right? And of course, because of the 1.8% degradation, you're going to trade the vehicle in way before that. The battery will outlast the vehicle. And that's basically what we're trying to say is that, no, the battery is not the issue. The batteries can be repaired or they can be replaced, and their degradation for most of the population is 1.8% per year.
Don't blame the car, blame the driver.
Blame the misinformation. Blame the misinformation, right? I mean, here's the study, here's the data. There's only one way to interpret this, really, right? Yeah. And of course, you're going to hear about stories about, that odd occasional vehicle that was supercharged every single day to 100% because the owner didn't care. And then, now he's got a YouTube video, right? I mean, that's one sample size. This is 10,000.
Okay.
Right? Okay. Moving along. This is something that's very important, especially for Canadians.
Yep. Tell us.
We have winter here.
Of course, yes.
And apparently, the EVs don't work in winter.
Don't they? But you've been driving it. My wife's been driving one. So.
Yeah, they certainly do work in winter. In fact, in the entire country of Norway, 95% of their vehicles are EVs now. Yeah. Apparently.
But I do notice, though, when you're driving in really cold weather, the slight charging, you need to charge more regularly.
That's right, because there is something called cold weather. And cold weather affects the charging speed of your vehicle, also affects the consumption of your vehicle because you're turning on the heat.
So you're using more battery.
You're using more battery.
Yeah.
Now, in most modern vehicles these days, with especially in some markets, they call it a winter package. That's basically a heat pump. So the heat pump reduces the amount of need of the resistive heater, which is completely electric, to be in use, right? So that decreases the amount of electricity drawn.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So in most cases, the very efficient EV, you might lose maybe 10%, 15% of your battery. In vehicles that did not have a heat pump, you're probably looking at 20-25. My Bolt EV was a 20-25% loser because it had no heat pump.
What about your current vehicle?
My new vehicle, maybe 10 to 15%.
Oh, it has a heat pump.
Yeah, mine has a heat pump.
Okay.
So I'm looking at my they call it the gasometer. So my actual range on my dashboard changes by about 50 kilometers with 10 to 15%,
That's
right?
during the winter.
So right now, even at 21 degrees plus, I get like 445 kilometers.
Right.
In winter,
range.
I get 387.
So a little bit less.
A little bit less, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But I drive exactly the same routes every single day. So what does that tell you? And we get weather that is minus 10 in Coquitlam sometimes, right?
Yeah.
That's winter enough, right?
Yeah.
You know, in places like Norway where they go negative 17, and Alberta where they go negative.
I think Toronto's like minus 35.
Right? Most EVs have more than enough range to get between charging points and your house, right? This is over 330, 350 kilometers, right?
In city driving, there's plenty of charges all over the place.
Plenty of charge.
Yeah, there's
the
plenty.
slower you go, and in winter you usually go slower, that mitigates that issue as well too. Okay. One thing that I found out recently, which is going to make EV drivers very happy, especially in BC, is the growing network of chargers, right?
True.
Now, when we were heading up to Prince George
Oh, that was last year. Yeah,
it was last year.
I really enjoyed that. Yeah.
We hit chargers that are different speeds and everything like that. Some were slower than others, right? Like my vehicle is not the fastest charging, but it's faster than most of the last generation chargers.
Yeah, we didn't charge as much as I thought. So
no, we didn't. We were pretty good.
And most of the chargers were, but some of them 50, some of them 100 kilowatts. So
we were in and out, most of them, and within 45 minutes max.
True.
Because we needed to go eat at a Chinese restaurant. We just walked around the corner and came back. Eating is what took up the time, not us waiting for the vehicle, right? It was us. The vehicle was waiting for us.
We just left it there,
Yeah, so that was great, right? So I found out recently that there was a mission from the BC government to actually roll out a lot more chargers. Okay. So, and this is in partnership with BC Hydro, our BC owned utility, right? They put up so many chargers in the last year
since we went. Okay.
That now past where we were, which was Prince George, the largest northern city.
So further up north,
you can get all the way up to Alaska now.
Alaska.
Yeah. And guess what? Each charge point, there's no more than 150 kilometers separating them.
In between. So that's literally, for the guys who don't know kilometers and miles, it's less than 100 miles.
Yeah. So thinking about that, an average EV these days has well over 300 kilometers, maybe even 400 kilometers now, right? Of range.
Yeah.
You could skip one and go to the next one if you wanted to, or you can charge for 10 minutes at each one and,
And these are high-speed chargers.
High-speed chargers. They
Super
are
fast chargers.
So the ones that we came up to last year, they were 50 kilowatt.
Yeah.
More commonly, you're going to see 100 to 180 now on the BC Hydro network.
Because we went to Prince Rupert, we didn't even see Prince George. We didn't even see any 180s.
Yeah, they were very rare.
Yeah, we saw 150 max.
The route that we took, we didn't see any major high speed ones because we're out of the range of a lot of the higher speed ones.
All right. Okay.
So Electrify Canada, theirs are 350.
Oh, 350.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah, 150 to 350. BC Shell has 180s.
180s. Okay.
Right.
Okay.
There are other networks as well too that have higher speed ones.
So, for example, if you were driving your car and you went to one of these super fast charging, how long would it take to get a full charge? Well, say you drop down to, say, I don't know, what would you normally charge at? 40% on your car?
I would drop all the way down to 30.
30. Okay.
30
so
to 80 would take me maybe 35 minutes
on one of these fast charge.
Yeah.
30 minutes.
Because I charge at 75.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Got you. I got you.
So that's about the range, right? It falls off as you get closer to 80. But now, because we know that my vehicle can easily go more than 300 kilometers per 80% charge, I could just top up as I go. And it's nice to kind of get out of the vehicle. Because it's like, I got to stretch.
You got to stretch, go for a pee.
Exactly, right? I mean, 150 kilometers, it's a little bit short. I would probably go more like 200 kilometers before I get out. That's 2 hours of driving.
Yeah, 2 hours driving.
Do a stretch, get back in the car, and on my way. Okay, that's fine.
And with a lot of these charging stations on your map or your Google, whatever, we'll have these charging points mentioned, right? So you know where you're going. Navigation on sat nav.
Yeah. In fact, now because there's less than 150 kilometers per station, it's going to be even easier for you to just hit a charger. A lot of the sat nav inside the vehicles will be updated so that it includes your preconditioning. So by the time you get to the charger, it'll already be ready, warmed up, and ready to go to accept the charge, right? Because there's 150 kilometers gapping between all these chargers, maximum. That means there's going to be more chargers in between. So you can tailor the trip as much as you want. Yeah,
because it's not so much knowing whether there's chargers out there. You know there's chargers out there. It's knowing the location of the chargers.
Yeah.
So with the sat nav, you'll see with the new updated sat navs, we'll see where all the chargers are.
Okay. And the nice thing too is that BC Hydro chargers are actually connected. So what you'll see is that you'll see them online, and they're open.
Okay.
So that by the time you get there, you'll know that charger is open. They are still working on BC Hydro chargers are known to be extremely reliable. So by the time you go through Blue River, we went to Blue River. We're charging right there, right in the town, and we went to the train station. That charger was great. It was wide open. They could have put 10 more up in that area, and everyone would have hubbed out there. And I think that's what they've done. They've actually upgraded many of these stations. They're already existing, because I complained about, hey, there's 2 chargers there. Well, what happens, right? Like, I mean, there should be 4.
And if you have a slow charging vehicle,
it's gonna hog everyone down, right? So right now, the fast charging sites includes 155 charging sites and 310 fast chargers.
So they put a lot.
They put a lot out
within this year, and that's throughout BC, right?
That's throughout BC. So they have an overall target of 10,000 public charging stations by 2030.
10,000.
Yeah. So as of August 2024, the BC government says that there's 5,300 public charging stations in the province, which is a 350% increase over 2018. Now, even in the last year or so, as they were building this out, even a year before that, I couldn't imagine going to Prince George without having to stop somewhere and like panic. When we went,
it was okay.
That's fine.
It was fine.
I had no problem.
So now, even better, then you can just take a break anytime.
Yeah. And guess what? Because in winter, all vehicles lose their efficiency anyway. Like, I mean, you could keep going, but most vehicles, they use 0.2% of their fuel every hour to power the HVAC system. That includes heat. Right? Yeah. So you want to stop anyway, just to kind of do your business,
There's one question I wanted to ask. In like a lot of gas stations, do you think like gas stations will have charging stations?
That's happening right now.
Is it?
I noticed that the Shell stations, because the Shell used to do hydrogen, right? They since realized that hydrogen is a losing battle, because in Canada, you know the byproduct of hydrogen is water, right?
Okay.
What happens when water freezes?
It just becomes ice.
Yeah. So imagine your tailpipe.
It's like stuff
frozen, right? So how is a hydrogen vehicle going to operate in Canada?
It doesn't.
How? How about Norway? How? Right? Maybe in California, and even that's failing, right? California's hydrogen stations, they're disappearing because everyone sees the writing on the wall. Hydrogen is not the answer.
Okay.
Right? So Shell is now taking away all their hydrogen stations and going straight charging stations.
So you'll have Shell stations with electric charging stations.
They already exist. Almost all of them in my area have a charging station. The one that is a holdout is now putting in all their charging stations right now. So my favorite Shell in Coquitlam is actually, it's a pretty big lot. They're putting in, I think, 3 or 4 stations.
Four charging stations. Okay, that's good.
So that's great. It also has my touchless wash. So the only reason why I ever go to a gas station these days is to actually do the touchless wash, and Shell offers touchless wash.
Yeah.
For my car.
The reason why I asked that is because stations usually have a shop where, like a convenience store with like you buy drinks and stuff like that, snacks. And also they may have a public toilet to use.
EV users will actually find a way to go into that store and spend some money because most of their margin is from the shop. The gas, they don't make a lot of margin on that. They don't. They really don't. I mean, they have to pump thousands of gallons of gas until they start making a profit. But the store is all margin. The car wash is all margin. The EV charging stations, eventually they will start making money, but that should be all margin based on the cost of the electricity, how many times they mark it up. And because electricity is regulated, it's not like gas where it fluctuates.
Oh, true.
Right?
It's like, now it's like 160 something, but it was a couple of months ago, it was like 200 and something.
The wholesale rate for electricity is like, what, 9 cents a kilowatt hour plus distribution? So, I mean, if you mark that up to like 30 cents a kilowatt hour, you're making 3 times profit. And for the convenience, most people pay that. You know? So, I mean, the average stop is 30 minutes. For 30 minutes, I'm going into that shop. I'm going to look around. I'm going to buy lottery tickets. I'm going to buy some junk food. I'm going to see what's on sale in the drink aisle. I'm going to buy all the stuff. I'm going to spend a minimum of $20.
$15, $20.
With a 80% profit margin versus going to a gas pump and leaving and not giving you that much money. Because I bet you anything, each tank of gas, the shop only makes like $5.
Yeah, a couple of dollars.
Max, right? So this is good for the shop long term. And you got a really great car wash that I frequent often. So I'm looking forward to
I'm seeing a lot of gas stations with triple O. What's that? Is that the burger place?
That's Chevron. Chevron stations have a burger.
Yeah, burger
joint right beside
joint,
it.
right next to it.
Good deal. Great burgers. And when you charge, you're there for at least 30 minutes. You're going to eat.
True.
It's the reason why you go. And that's a very good burger restaurant as well, too. Because they're good quality, you're going to want to go there.
Yeah, it's not beef, but I heard people say, yeah, it's not bad. It's bad.
Good. So, they have good triple O's is white spot, and they're good.
Yeah.
Very, very good.
Interesting. So now I can travel all the way up to Alaska.
All the way.
With no worries, have to worry about which charging stations will be active or whatever.
They're all DC fast charger, level 2s in between. If you're staying at a hotel, many of them now realize that, hey, you know what? We really should have some chargers on board because we've got a lot of people coming here because we have a charger. That place across the street, they have one charger. They've been getting all our business. We're going to put 4 chargers here. We're going to get 4 times the amount of business.
Yeah, it's like it's like those claw machine shops spring up everywhere, right?
Because it's popular, right?
And it makes a lot of money. Okay. Any news about the Elon standard?
Oh, NACS?
Yeah.
North American Charging Standard is coming out. We just got some of our, in Canada, I think that BC just got a version 4 charging station with the longer cables and also the Magic Dock.
Yeah.
Hasn't been activated yet, but for right now, Ford, GM.
That is going through.
That's all going through. Ford, GM are getting their adapters.
Okay.
GM, funny thing is, Ford is giving them away free. GM is charging customers $250 for the adapter to charge at the stations that have no Magic Dock. So if it has a Magic Dock, no problem. You don't need it. But if it doesn't have a Magic Dock, you need the adapter. And they will only allow the official adapters to work on their vehicles.
Okay.
There are aftermarket ones out there. A2Z is one of the more popular aftermarket ones. But their adapter isn't that much less money. It's maybe about $50 to $100 less. Probably still good quality and everything like that. But it's something to look after.
Updated on this American North American standard.
Yeah, I mean, in Canada, it's a little bit slower because a lot of the stations, a lot of the rollout, because Elon fired everyone, it's been in turmoil. But everything that's been planned is now just slowly going in.
Yeah.
But future planning, who knows what's happening, you know? But because BC Hydro has done their part, Alberta is going to be a black hole because Alberta doesn't believe in electricity. They just want to do hydrogen for some reason, and they freeze.
But they do, don't they do, they love their oil and gas as well?
They do love their oil and gas because oil and gas produces hydrogen.
Okay.
Now you get it, right? But Alberta is cold. So if you had hydrogen vehicles on the road and the stuff freezes, the nozzles have to be like
de-iced.
Basically, there's a tank inside every vehicle that is hundreds of bars of pressure, like hydrogen. Basically, more so.
Yeah.
Because it's carbon fiber, it's got to be light. It's got to be able to keep that compressed, and it's got to be able to insulate it so it doesn't warm up too much. So the stations, they're like $1 million a piece, and they have to find a way to keep them warm, which they cannot because they're like many hundreds of degrees cold to get it.
It's like minus 200 plus degrees.
It's crazy. So I don't understand what they're doing over there. I mean, funny thing is, I do love Alberta. They're fantastic. They have a lot of hardworking people there, very smart people, very intelligent people that know how to build things. There are also a lot of innovators in the repair space. There's this one repair shop in Edmonton, My Garage and Tire, I think is what they're called. If I get that wrong, please let me know. They exist to service all vehicles, but they're now starting to specialize in EV. And they're one of the first shops that my EV gearbox, if I was out of warranty, they could do the entire service and restore it for $400 or so.
But they're not Kia approved.
They're not Kia approved. This is after.
Okay.
So let's just say that
aftermarket.
You're done, warranty's done, I need a place to repair my vehicle.
Okay.
You take it there. So these places are in Alberta. The company that is now taking lithium out of tailing pools from exited oil pumps.
Right.
They're taking the lithium away from the waste of the oil industry and just pumping the water out and getting the lithium out. All this innovation is happening in Alberta, yet they don't have a government that is set up to actually support that. They could be the leader.
You're telling me that if you drive a electric vehicle into Alberta, you could be in trouble, as in like there's a lack of stations.
If you drive a Tesla, you might actually be run off the road by a very big pickup truck. Sure, that's why I like my vehicle.
Lack of charging stations.
Lack of charging stations and the ones that work. When I was in Alberta, and it's gotten better. But I was actually at this charging station, the last one before Calgary. I mean, Calgary's a little bit more progressive, but one of their chargers, they only had 2 chargers, and I needed this charge to get to Calgary. It wasn't working.
Okay.
I had to call support. They finally got it working, but it took me almost an hour and a half to just get it working. I had sandwiches at the shop. The shop was really nice. They had really good food.
So in the winter, if you're stuck in the cold, you'd be in trouble then.
Yeah, in Alberta, you'll be in trouble. In BC, not so much because you have 150 kilometers per charger. So now winter mobility is a lot better in BC all the way up to Alaska.
You're saying that all the way up, but what about east? What, going east?
Well, that's going through Alberta.
As well. So
that's going through Alberta.
Okay.
BC Hydro belongs to BC.
Okay.
Alberta has their own thing. And I think ATCO is one of the companies that is pushing that through. Okay. There's other networks as well too, but again, the popularity of going through that province in the next province is not as progressive as BC.
Okay.
So going across Canada is going to be okay. There's going to be more chargers than there were 3 or 4 years ago, but the problem is right now is finding them working and in good repair. BC Hydro, they're immediately on it because that's their trademark in BC right now. But all the other brands, maybe not. Petro-Canada across Canada, they're based in Calgary. They're based in Alberta, Calgary, I believe. They don't even care about their stations anymore. They're all broken most of the time. And it's a running joke that, you were able to charge at Petro-Canada? That's weird. But there's Electrify Canada. I can't remember what the company's called.
But they just leave their charger station broken?
They just leave them broken. It's like they're using it as a statement of some kind.
Oh, they don't really care though.
They don't really care. But Shell, Chevron, Electrify Canada, Flow, ChargePoint, those are still stations that go right across Canada.
Yeah. I've seen last year we went to the Electrify show that the ChargePoint was expanding their network.
Yep. Yeah, and also Journey, which is Chevron.
Yeah.
That's looking good. They're changing their charging because the company FreeWire that manufactures their battery powered charging stations went out of business. They're now installing conventional chargers at the newer stations, but they're going to continue to maintain the ones that they have. They just started charging for their charging services, but their stores are actually really good. They have really good tasty things inside, and they actually give deals when
It's owned by Journey.
Chevron.
Chevron, okay.
Yeah, so Chevron, Shell are into this.
Yeah.
Petro-Canada, not so much.
Yeah.
I mean, they have an opportunity, but they're just choosing to squander it.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, a tank of gas, and the guy doesn't buy anything from the store versus an EV guy coming in. He's at the EV station, 30 minutes. He's already bought 2 sandwiches, cookies, lottery ticket. Who are you going to take? Who's the better customer?
Yeah, it's true.
Right?
It's true. Yeah. I tend to go in and buy a lot of stuff.
Just saying.
At that station we were at I can't remember which town we were at. Went in the gas station. I bought like 2 bottles of drinks and I had some snacks and stuff like that. I spent at least $10 plus there.
That's more profit than two tanks of gas. Probably. We were in Blue River, I believe.
All right.
Yeah, it was right around there. There was a restaurant right across. We were thinking about going there, but then we're like, hey, you know what? We just need a snack. We'll just keep going, right?
Yeah, that's true.
So that was good. I actually enjoyed that a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
we should do another one.
We should. Maybe in winter now because they're 150 go all the way to Alaska. That would be fun.
Just make sure get some warm clothes.
Yeah, warm clothes. Actually, I don't freeze. I'm rugged that way. Built in Canada.
So what other news are on the EV launches? Any new vehicles?
Launching right now, the hottest vehicle is the EV3 from Kia.
Okay,
that's going to be something that's going to be extremely affordable.
That's smaller than yours.
It's big. It's a taller vehicle.
Taller, okay.
Based on their latest generation platform, it's going to charge faster.
Charge faster.
And it's going to be more efficient because it shares a lot with the EV9. The EV9 actually has really cool technology where the motor actually has it's almost like 2 internal gears, but they're actually a high and a low range.
Oh, so it's almost
electrically,
like a 4-wheel drive type of kind of.
No. The motor itself has a high and a low range to optimize low speeds and high speeds.
Okay.
Electrically.
Right.
You could have 2 of them in the vehicle or 1.
Okay.
The EV3 will be a front-wheel drive only vehicle.
Oh, right.
Okay.
Right.
But it's compact. It's bigger than my vehicle.
Oh, I saw a Lucid the other day.
Yes. I'm a shareholder.
It's a very very nice car. Actually.
It is a beautiful car.
But you said it was expensive though.
They're all to get a properly equipped one. They're $100K. but Peter Rawlinson, the CEO of Lucid, is now he's rolling out plans to have a selection of 5 vehicles, and they range in different prices.
Oh, more affordable EVs.
More affordable.
Okay.
They're moving towards that because their most expensive vehicles are testing platforms for all the technology they want to roll down into the other vehicles, right? Just like the Model S was the first vehicle.
Yeah.
Now they have the Model 3. The Model 3 wouldn't have been possible if the Model S did not exist at $100,000.
Right.
So Model 3 now is half the price.
It's almost like the people on airplanes, the first class and the business tickets are always more expensive, and once it's all packed, all the other economy class tickets are cheaper.
Yeah, they fund the rest of the plane. That's right. They really, in some cases, that's what really does happen. So in this case, the 2 vehicles that they have, the second vehicle will be their Gravity, which is their SUV.
Okay.
And they've been testing it. It looks very impressive. So once those 2 vehicles are out in the wind, that means that they're ready to put the mid-sized vehicles and then the smaller vehicles. Because they have to start from this in order to get to that. I hope they have a wagon because I would love a Lucid wagon. That'd be fantastic.
Okay. And any news on the Rivian side?
Rivian was actually displayed at the Electrify Everything show in Vancouver.
It's changed its name now, is it?
So they did show off the Rivian R3, which is a cool vehicle. Looks like a Lada Niva. It's got that kind of boxy look to it.
Oh, right. So it did came out, and it's
prototype.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Right. So it was there.
What's the price range they said?
I think they're targeting for well under $60K.
Okay.
Right?
So it's going to be more fun to drive.
It's more affordable. It's a smaller vehicle. People are very excited about it, but because it's Rivian, there are no dealer markups. So whatever it launches at is whatever it launches at.
Oh, because they don't have any dealership.
They don't have any dealership.
Showroom.
Yeah, no. Okay. They have the online store and they have one showroom downtown. That's about it.
Okay.
So the only thing right now is that when they fix your vehicle, they send a person out, just like Tesla used to before they had service centers.
True.
So
I see a lot more Polestars lately.
Yeah, Polestar had a really awesome leasing deal for 2 years just recently. I think a lot of people took advantage of that. Polestar is a fantastic car. Don't get me wrong; they're great vehicles. Fit and finish, not as good as some higher end vehicles, and including Volvo themselves.
Yeah.
But I think that the vehicle is handsome. It looks great, and it has Android Auto built right into it. So it's and that shows you your range and everything like that.
I saw a lot more ID4s now because that's what my wife's driving.
Yeah, the supply is much better now.
Yeah, it's probably superior. And when I was at the UK a couple of weeks ago, I see ID3s.
Yeah, that's a great vehicle.
That's nice.
That's a great vehicle.
It's smaller than the ID4.
A lot.
It's compact and it's almost reminds me of a
size of a
Golf.
Jetta.
A Golf.
Yeah.
Like,
golf size.
Golf size.
I saw a bunch of them in Paris as well too.
Yeah, I like that. I like that rather than driving my ID4. Actually, I prefer the ID3.
But the VW biggest disappointment has to be the microbus. The ID Buzz is coming out at a much higher price point than anyone's anticipating. So if you really want it, you're paying almost close to 6 figures.
Really?
Close to it, like just kind of hovering underneath
why is that?
Because I guess that's what it costs. I don't know. Like, I mean, I was expecting to maybe pay 60 to 70, like a good.
But a lot of people are buying them to convert them internally.
I can see that as well too. But still, the allure of a proper minivan with an electric drivetrain is still something that many people need. They're not getting it, right? If someone puts out a great minivan that has sliding doors and everything like that, and it's a minivan style, I think those will sell like hotcakes. Absolutely.
Well, the cars that in Hong Kong, they're very popular. They don't have them here. Or in the UK, they have it in Japan and Hong Kong. Is the 7 to 8 people carrier, but there's a sliding door. The Alphas and the L Grand. Toyotas and Nissan makes them, and they're only available, most of them in Asia, but you don't see them in Canada or UK.
But the range is very limited, so you need enough battery for here. They're not appropriate for this market.
Right, probably.
They don't work here.
Probably.
Right, we need something that can travel 70 miles per hour. They can get there,
long
400 kilometers. Because
yeah.
that's the only reason why we would actually use them. Right? Carry 7 kids fully loaded.
Yeah, 7, 8 people. Right? Yeah.
So that's what would have to happen. So I'm looking forward to what Kia is apparently testing one right now. They're looking at doing that because they already have a minivan. And then we're looking at the ID Buzz is a disappointment on price point. Hopefully it's not going to launch at that price. And that maybe there's other trims that are still going to be good because it's a really great looking vehicle. I would be very disappointed if it didn't sell.
My brother was interested in one.
Yeah,
but,
everyone's interested. It's just no one wants to pay that price.
Well, not that price.
It's very expensive, right?
Yeah.
So lots going on in the EV space right now. Just nothing selling right now. But so far, EV3, EV5, EV6 is already out. But EV4 is out there as well too. So the Koreans are doing crazy stuff.
They're pushing.
They're pushing. They are literally betting the farm on EV.
Yeah.
And everyone's behind. And just recently, I found out that over in the US, the Ford and GM have been buying up BYDs, NIOs,
really?
and Xiaomi vehicles from overseas and testing them on their own tracks and realizing that they're way behind.
Oh, so China EVs are really advanced now.
They're very advanced.
Yeah.
They're basically like smartphones.
Yeah, I heard that. I've seen a clip. I'm not sure if it's real, but oh my God. Parallel parking.
Oh.
It's literally the car just park up to the next to the vehicle. They just press one button.
It's done.
And the car does it for them. Oh my God. No looking at the mirror or the monitor. You just press the button. Yeah. And the car reverses in the corner at an angle and it goes into a parallel park.
It's no longer a skill issue. If anything were to happen, like if anything were to happen to that feature and it stopped working, the pilot would not be able to figure out how to work it.
Yeah.
Would not be able to figure out.
I still rely on skills.
Yeah. You need to have a basic level of skill until you can rely on features like that.
That's the thing now. Because my nephew now, he's doing his driving lessons now. Okay, he's 16, 17.
Younger people don't want to drive though.
And we used to have to. Well, I say have to. We prefer and it was better to a gear shift manual license.
Well, it's because you're slower. Right? Yeah, you slow down for a second. You think about what you're doing next.
We had to get it because it was a better license to have anyway. Plus, it gives you options to drive other vehicles, not just a car.
Yep.
But nowadays, the youngsters, they're just auto. It's just auto.
Yeah, they're doing their test in the Tesla. They're doing the test in the instructor's Corolla.
So they have no idea of foot control, the manual gear shift, and nothing like that. It's just accelerate, brake, accelerate, brake. That's it.
But does it matter though? Does it really matter?
It doesn't really matter.
Because remember that little button that was on the door that you had to push a couple times before you can actually start the car?
Yeah.
Hey, you were spoiled. You didn't have that in your car.
We did, yeah.
Every generation has something new. We can't be, and I keep hearing this from older people, is that you can't put the past on a pedestal and vilify the future. The future is coming, no matter if you are there or not.
And the other thing is, I was driving a rental car. I was in the UK, and the reverse gear, it's on a dash.
Yeah, sometimes things don't make sense. It doesn't make sense.
It's just, but now it's and same with my wife's electric vehicle. It's the reverse is on the
or
dash,
the stock, right?
I just couldn't. Well, I have to get used to it.
Once you know where it is, you know where it is.
It's fine,
There's no point complaining. The future is going to run you over, right?
Yeah.
You can either be run over or hide in the hole somewhere.
It's true. Right? And then the VinFast, the things were all over the place, weren't they?
In UK?
No, the VinFast vehicle that we drove.
Oh.
So to stop, but there's no stop button. The things were all over the place.
You get in, it starts. That's it's a Tesla thing as well too.
Yeah.
But I don't like it when they do it because something about it feels like it might not work. You know what I'm saying? Like VinFast, not a master of software. Not a master of software. Tesla, master of software.
Yeah.
The hardware, a little bit dodgy, fit and finish might not be good, but at least it works.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I saw the Cybertruck the other day. From the pictures, from the videos, it looked great, but in real life,
it looks like
it just doesn't
look so great.
It doesn't look so good.
Yeah. I keep seeing them now.
Yeah.
I see them more often. So, I mean,
it's just coming out now.
The cyber army is coming.
Yeah.
Okay. I think we're done with our EV update. There's not a whole much more to talk about until we see CES again in January.
Yeah.
Because no one's launching cars now.
Oh, yeah.
So everything's going to happen. CES has become an EV show more or less.
It's more of a car show now.
Yeah. And I think we're gonna keep an eye on things. But really great news about EV infrastructure in British Columbia. I hope that follows out for the rest of Canada. US is also doing their own moves. A lot of the gas stations are converting and adding a lot more charging stations as well too. Quietly. And this is information that a lot of people that keep parroting you misinformation just miss out on. And I hope you pick up on some of this soon because it might change your way of thinking. Right?
Yeah. Just don't believe in everything you see or hear.
Yeah. I'm not telling you to not drive your gas car. I'm just saying that this is available. And if you really want to be an expert on vehicles, you got to be an expert on everything.
You got to have options available.
Right. Yeah. So if someone asks you about EVs and you're giving misinformation, you are guilty of spreading crap, and that's no good either. All right, enough talk about this. Let's leave this on the quiet, on positive notes. EVs are expanding. People should keep driving their vehicles and maintain them. Don't trade in anything that's still working, and just offer the right information.
Yeah. So we're waiting for Stephen to get his new EV.
I don't know when that will be, but I'm gonna keep driving this thing until it needs another gearbox.
All right. Oh, wait, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Right. This is a YouTube exclusive podcast. And of course, if you guys are on Google Podcasts right now, I know however many, Google says there's 500,000 of you guys. So if you're moving over to, you want to move off that platform, make sure that you move to YouTube Music. Where you'll find us. And we'll be, amongst the Taylor Swift singles and Beyonce. So, our podcast show somewhere in between. Listen to us, please.
All right.
Until next time. Bye-bye.
See you soon. Bye-bye.